Want to hear some of that techno music?
Hi there and welcome, dear friends and fellow creators. My name's Michael Gregory and I'm the creator behind Gremic's gallery and, more importantly, behind the style card. I'm thrilled to have you here today as we embark on a little bit of a journey together. Firstly, let me extend a heartfelt thank you for choosing the style card by Gremic's gallery. Your support is very much appreciated. This video will assist you in constructing your style card. The PDF is comprehensive in detailing how to construct the style card, but I thought it best to include this video. The style card is a Canva template. Now, you don't necessarily need a paid subscription with Canva to actually use it. You can be a free user. You're obviously just limited to the free elements to use on Canva, but you can import up to 5 gigabytes of your own social media that you can then incorporate into the style card on the Canva platform. So there are ways around it. You don't need the paid subscription. We'll get a little bit further into the design just shortly, but as you can see, you've got a picture of the style card there, and we've got the working from the top to the bottom. These are simply suggestions that I've come up with, and this is how I formatted my particular one when I started out using this, simply to promote my YouTube videos. So we've got the tagline, we've got the call to action, description, discount offer, video details, image details, product details, anything you want. You don't have to stick with that platform. You can chop and change all that as you wish, and you'll find that you'll actually develop new and better ways of doing this than what I've got here for you. It really does become your own template, and you are simply limited by your imagination. It really depends on why you bought the template and what your intended use for it is, what the goal is for you and your particular brand. But influencers, entrepreneurs, brands, online stores, on-site stores, this is a really versatile product, and it can be adapted for all sorts of uses. Okay guys, so in this part of the video we're just going over the PDF now, and as you can see we've got the first section of our PDF for the style card laid out there, 1 to 10. Basically we've got the title page, one that I'm holding there. Next we've got the introduction page, and then we've got the key benefits, or some of the benefits that you can achieve through utilizing the style card. And we've briefly touched on that previously, but as I mentioned, the style card is your template after you've purchased it, and you will go to town designing it and coming up with better and better ways of using it to your advantage for whatever that goal is that you had in mind for the style card. Page 4, understanding your audience and crafting your ideal customer profile. So we go into a bit of detail there and a bit of information about how to do that properly. That continues on page 5. And then we have the welcome to the style card page, which basically gives you a little bit more detail on what you've just covered in the previous pages. But we also makes reference to the upcoming section of the PDF where you actually can design and construct your style card. 7 and 8, I've actually included a couple of case studies there, just to give you a little bit of a push in sort of the ways you can use it. So I've got there for an individual influencer or social media creator, which is the Alex Monroe case study. And then I've got an actual brand case study, so a fictitious brand. Although I think boutique chic is actually a thing, but I don't intend for it to be following any brands if that's the case. This is just purely a made-up case study, but again, just to give people, businesses, online businesses, an idea of how to use the style card in your particular scenario. And then just a brief thank you. We're wrapping up there. And then page 10 is the important page, which you probably already found if you're watching this video. But it has the link in it at the top to get to the template on Canva. And it also has the link for this particular video. So you've already found that. Well done. We'll move into the actual design of the style card next. See you soon. Okay, so we're back again. This time we're into the construction section, the construction part of the PDF. You can see on screen there, I've got at step 1, we've got the plain template with the ideas we've previously touched on. The dot points laid out below it. And then step 2 there, the examples. They're just examples that I've constructed around, a grand opening for a brand. Whiskers and Wags, I think I've called it there, Wonderland. I've got a YouTube channel there on the left there, showing the QR code to scan to get to the video that the shop or the person that's selling a particular product has made the video about. The one in the middle is actually of my channel, Gremic's Gallery, and I've actually constructed that one, so you get to see, looking at that template flat on screen, what it actually turns into in real life. Whoops, sorry, moving out of screen there. I need to be mindful that I don't want to make these videos too long, but there you go. This here is the is what we're after at the end. Of course, with your branding and your logo and your colors and all that all over it. So we'll move on to the next part of the design sequence. Okay, so you've designed your style card and you're happy with the design. You've finalized it. So now you're up to the point where you're ready to print it. As you can see there on page 3, the recommended weight of paper that I've got there is 200 GSM. And that's basically what I've been showing the PDF on. It's slightly more weight than what a standard A4 sheet has. That said, you can actually still print your style card template on an A4 sheet through your standard printer at home, because you will actually double up that thickness. It won't have quite as much body as the 200 GSM weight, but I think you can also go to printing shops and places like that and just purchase that next size up in weighted paper and use on standard printers at home. I use the Officeworks site here in Australia. In the US, you guys have Staples over there. I imagine Canada would probably have Staples. I'm not too sure. And I'm not too sure what you've got in the UK, but you know the type of thing I'm talking about, just an online printing service. It's all online. I just go through and basically follow the bouncing ball, upload my template, select color, select the size. Incidentally, the template is set up in a default size of A4 size here in Australia, which I think is letter size in the US. 8.5 inches by 11 inches for our US customers. And and it can be scaled up and down, and I'll show you that design feature which allows you to do that in the coming slides. Once you've got it all set up and you've printed off your templates there, which as you can see in an A4 size or a letter size, you get 3 to a sheet. We move on to step to page 4 there of the construction. And you're actually just cutting out those individual templates just around the edge with either a Stanley knife, utility knife, or a box knife, or anything you want really. Just be careful, obviously, but a pair of scissors works equally well. Usually I just do a rough cut between them, separate them, and then I do the fine cut around each of them. I find that a little bit easier. We'll move on to the next step. Okay, so in this part of the video, we're just going into where those fold lines are carried out on your style card. Now, specifically on page 8 there, I just want to draw your attention into the steps 1, 2, and 3, just in the middle of page 8. They're just drawing your attention to the fact that we only cut on the black arrowheads. So step 1 is locating those arrowheads. Step 2, just take up your utility knife or your pair of scissors. Step 3, just make that very tiny cut just on the black arrowhead. Don't go across the dotted line, just on the black arrowhead. So when you're done with all 6, you'll just have 3 sets of tiny cuts that we pair together to actually make our fold lines. And this leads us into page 9 there on the right, where we actually flip the template over. You get yourself a ruler or a flat edge of some description. Rulers work best. And just place your ruler across the corresponding cuts, and that will be your fold line. So once you've got your ruler there and you've lined it up pretty much evenly with both of those cuts, just make a fold in the template and do that for the other 2 sets of cuts. And they're the 3 fold lines done, and all you need to do on the back of the template. I'll show you this upcoming video just to highlight that a little better. Okay, so I'm showing here the first set of black arrows, as you can see. So we want to make a little cut on those. The next set of arrows that I point to here are the red ones. We don't want to cut those at all, as indicated there. Next set of arrows is black, so we want to make an incision there on those, just on the little black arrowheads. And we move down to our last pair of black arrowheads, which we also want to cut. So I'll show you exactly how small a cut we do. And as you can see there, that's it. Obviously, these have already been pre-cut, and this template is a little bit ratty looking simply because I've used it a lot for making this video. So those fold lines are well worn. Yours will be a lot more crisp because you'll basically, you'll cut out your template, you'll make the fold lines where necessary, and you'll pretty much just fold it together and construct it once you put the glue on the back and that sort of thing. We'll get into that in coming steps. So as you can see there, I'm making the final, or imitating making the final cuts here. So that's all 6 of the little black arrowheads just with that tiny cut made. And now we're ready to flip over the template, grabbing our ruler. As you can see, I flip it over and you can see those cuts now, and that's how we know where to fold on the back of the template. Again, those fold lines are quite well worn, which kind of helps highlight the point to you here. So now I identify the corresponding cuts. I grab my ruler, place it on the back of the template there, line those cuts up together, and that indicates to me where I need to make my first fold. Sorry about my finger there. I've got a little bit of an injury from work. Nothing serious. I'll survive. Managed to save the whole hand, so I just didn't think you really wanted to see that, hence why I've got a band-aid on. Our next set of black arrows, again, the cuts that we made there on the front. So you just make another fold line there, and we've got our last fold line on the back of the template. Our 2 little nicks, corresponding nicks. Yeah, just fold it that way. It probably would have been better to fold the shorter end there. Now I'm actually highlighting that we go to our red arrows here on the front, and of course because you can see it on the front, you don't need to make those cuts, but that is still where a fold line needs to be made, and that's all 4 of your fold lines made, the 3 on the back and the 1 on the front. So you get this kind of shape that I'm attempting to show you here. I'll zoom out in just a second and you'll get a little bit more of a glimpse. So as long as your style card after you've folded those lines looks something like that, you're on the right track. Okay guys, so pretty much the hard part's behind us at this point, and all we're doing is applying glue to the blank side of the style card at this point. So as you can see, we start at both of the ends, as indicated there on page 19 of the construction side of the PDF. So you can use spray adhesive, which is generally what I use. I just put a bit of A3 paper, take it outside, lay the blank templates down, turn them over so the blank side's facing up, and just apply spray adhesive to them. But look, the craft glue works just fine, and this is a little bit more forgiving. You can find that when you do your fold, you'll actually get the fold a little bit crooked. It'll go off, or it won't fold over quite straight, and the craft glue is quite forgiving, so you can peel that back up and have another go at it. And if you're really keen, and sometimes if I'm too lazy to find the other ones and this is laying around, Tarzan's grip, this stuff will definitely hold your style card together. Just remember, if you're going to use something like that, take it outside because you need a well ventilated space to use that. And you pretty much, once this is done, we're just gluing up the middle part, so we'll get into that next. Okay, well, we're pretty much at the end. All we've got to do there, as you can see on page 22, is apply glue to that leftover area. If you haven't already done it, that's all you've got to do there. And then on page 24, we're just bringing those two halves over together to give you the final style card construction, which you can see in the bottom of the bottom right of page 24 there. So that is the design that we're after. So as long as you end up with something like this, you've done it all correctly. And of course, it's got all the features that I suggested. You can change this as much as you want, obviously. So the QR code there, the branding on the front, the details about the what the QR code will bring the viewer to, or the subscriber, or the follower, or the customer, the call to action. You guys can change all of this in any way, shape, or form that you want. There's a couple of other details I've just got to mention, and I'll do that in the upcoming part of this video. But as for the construction, that's pretty much us done. I'll see you in a tick. Okay, so in this part of the video, I'm just giving you a little bit more of a formal introduction to the style card layout. So as you can see by the flashing perimeter, the default sizing is A4 size. Within that A4 sizing, you get 3 style card templates already set up for you, 1, 2, and 3 there. Now, within each of the style cards, there's actually 4 zones. Zone 1 is where you put your branding. Zone 2 is where you place your QR coding. Zone 3 is your informational area, and Zone 4 is where you place all your imagery. Okay, so the inbuilt design feature on the style card I wanted to talk about was the placement of the arrowheads. You can change 97% of the style card in any way you want to, even move the zones around, but the placement of the arrowheads is what allows us to scale down the size or scale up the size. As long as you keep those arrowheads in the correct place and make a smaller design, you'll still get the fold lines occurring in exactly the right spot. The next aspect I wanted to touch on was the upside down nature of Zone 1 and Zone 4. Looks a little weird, but as we've seen in the previous part of the video, it all makes sense once the style card is constructed. What I do want you to do is design Zone 1 and Zone 4 right way up, and then flip them 180 degrees upside down and place them into Zone 1 and Zone 4 respectively. Okay, so in this part of the video, we just need to touch on printer quality. You've gone through, you've set up your style card, you're happy with the final design, and you're ready to print. It would be a shame to have all your efforts let down by having your final design printed with a less than vibrant finish. And this leads us into the quality of printer that you use. Most of us will have inkjet printers at home. Some of us are lucky enough to have the LaserJet printers, and on screen there I've got 2 examples. The one on the right looking at the screen is the inkjet example, and the one on the left is the LaserJet example. So what can we do if we don't have access to a LaserJet printer? Well, that's where these online printing services come into play. Here in Australia, I utilise the Officeworks site. The A4 size template with the 3 style cards on it, printed in colour, works out to just over $1 per style card utilising the Officeworks site, and I'm quite happy with the consistent quality of finish that I get from the Officeworks equipment. It's important to find a viable printing option for your style cards, as they are designed to be a one-time use. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, after you've printed off and constructed a quantity of style cards, you'll next want to identify locations to place your style cards. Places where they will attract attention and have people engage with your content. In this process, you'll find that some people will keep your style card, others will throw it in the bin, others will interact with it and then leave it in the location you left it for others to find. And of course, style cards aren't weatherproof and are susceptible to getting dirty quite easily. Okay, so as we've just seen, there are a couple of limitations to the style card, but I think the style card pros definitely outweigh the style card cons. What you've done is make a practical investment, a one-time investment, into a versatile and professional tool that will augment you and your brand, and more importantly, the messaging that you're trying to get out to the offline and online community. Alright guys, so that pretty much brings us to a wrap for the video. Thanks for watching all the way to the end and for choosing the style card again. I just wanted to apologise for that band-aid on my finger earlier in the video, and also for the possible grainy nature of how I'm appearing in these videos. I've only got my built-in camera on my display here to do these overall videos, hence why I've had to keep myself small in one corner of the overall video. In summary, we've touched on the style card being a Canva template. We've seen its default size is A4 sizing. You get the 3 style cards, each with the 4 zones. We've touched on that design feature. We've touched on the printing off of the style cards, applying the glue, cutting them out and constructing them, and even touched on placement of the style cards. The design feature that's built in, I've got default color for the arrowheads is black and red. Now, if, for example, your brand calls for a red background, obviously a red arrowhead's going to disappear there, so you can actually click those arrowheads and change color of those. I didn't mention it earlier in the video, and most of you would have thought of it, but I thought it worthwhile mentioning just at this point in the video. Most of you will be familiar with Canva and have used it before, but there may be an element that are quite new to Canva. Thinking more about that, I will probably do a separate video where I'll take the blank style card template from start to finish for you, just as a tutorial. I'll add that into my Gremic's Gallery YouTube at some point. The printing cost. So I mentioned it was just over $1 per style card. I actually got that wrong. It's actually a sheet of 3. So one sheet with the 3 style cards is actually $1. So it works out a little cheaper. Obviously, the printing service that you utilize may be a bit more expensive or a bit more cheaper, but that's up to you and your part of the world and the options that you choose for that. I'll leave a couple of links in the description, one for Canva, one for my Reddit group. It would be great to see what you guys and girls actually come up with using your style card templates, and we can use that Reddit group as a way to correspond. So if you've got any questions, queries, problems, there's also the comment section in this video. You can add some questions or queries or suggestions on how I can improve things, or if you're just happy with the overall design, it'd be great to hear from you. We'll leave it at that. So wherever you are in the world, I hope you have a good day or evening, as the case may be, and I'll see you down the track. Bye for now.